Welcome to the Seventh Floor Coogs podcast, where tradition meets today. We're your go-to podcast for all things University of Houston sports. All teams, all eras, all heart. We're not just fans. We're former Cougar athletes who lived the grind, wore the jersey, competed with pride, and still ride with the red and white. From big wins to hard losses, locker room moments to campus memories, this is where we keep Cougar spirit alive. Whether you're a loyal returning listener or you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the family. This is your front row seat to game breakdowns, player insights, bold opinions, and plenty of Cougar pride. We'll be covering it all: football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, track, and more. If U of H competes in it, we're talking about it. And yeah, we've got some stories you've never heard, but definitely want to. So get ready. This isn't just another sports podcast. This is the Seventh Floor Coogs All Access Podcast. Let's get into it. Well, good morning, Mr. Jimmy Sullivan. I want to give you a clap, as our coach used to say, give you a little clap as we begin our third show of our podcast, the Seventh Floor Cougs. How you doing today? I know yesterday was a little bit of a tough day for you being a New Yorker, but how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yesterday, emotional day, 9/11, 24th year. We usually give a shout out at the end of the show. I'll give a shout out at the beginning of the show. My brother-in-law, Port Authority Police Officer Donald McIntyre, unfortunately passed away in 9/11. So we always do a mass and a dinner, lunch afterwards with the Port Authority family, and a little bittersweet, but overall a very nice day. So I get to spend time with my sister and spend time with all the families I've gotten to know over the last 24 years. And I'd just like to say, as always, we'll never forget.
We'll talk a little bit more about the never forget part later on in the show. But I want to let everybody know what the heck is going on today and what we're going to talk about. So
tonight, baby.
Tonight, 6:30, ESPN, I believe, straight up ESPN, none of these third or fourth ESPN channels. I think it's going to be on the main ESPN channel.
So we'll be able to find the game this week, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So this week we're going to talk about the Cougs versus the Buff. You know, there's a lot to talk about there, a lot of quarterback questions on Buffalo, and just a lot of question about the Cougs going 3-0 as predicted right here. You heard it here first. They're going to go 4-0. But they got to get past Colorado. This is going to be their toughest game in this first 4-game stretch. And then we're going to talk about the Cougs being in New Jersey, and we'll see what that's all about in just a little bit. But before we go there, let's go ahead and take a look at the game. As far as we can tell, Buffalo is 1-1. As you can see, their record right there. They lost to Georgia Tech in a close one. Now, Georgia Tech is not a bad team, and then they blew out Delaware. Delaware is, a typical patty cake kind of team there, so no big deal. Cougs are favored to win. Did you catch the line on that? I think the Cougs are like a 4 or 5 point.
It's been fluctuating. At once, I think it was down to we were 5.5. We were 5.5 favorites, right?
Yeah, favorites.
Because we're at home, right? I mean, home team usually at least you get 3 points for being at home. So I think it's been going back and forth between 5.5 and 4.5.
But we're favored to win, so that's something that I really think that'll happen. Like I said, this is going to be the toughest of their first 4 games, and then after that, it's a crapshoot because we're going to have to really test our mettle when we get into the heart of the Big 12 schedule. So let's take a look at what's going on. The big question on the Colorado side is the quarterback situation. They've got actually three guys, Salter, Staub, and Lewis, who have all played already this year. Joseph Williams, I believe he's only been in for like one play, so I'm not even going to consider that playing. But apparently, they don't know who to start.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the luxury of having Shador Sanders,
Correct.
Dion's son, anymore. So a lot of these guys haven't gotten first team reps till this year, and I think they were all playing mediocre. So Dion put them all out there, and it looks like Staub had the best performance of the three.
Yeah, Staub is the guy with the arm, from what I understand. He's a great passer, and as you can see, he's completing 70% of his passes in just 7 completions. So he's averaging what 10 yards a completion. So, but he's probably the least experienced, I would say, on the field wise.
Yeah, I mean, he was only third string until last Saturday. He played the best, so I don't know if Dion's showing us all his cards, but right now he's supposed to be the number one. I'm sure they might have a package or two for Slater. He's more of the athlete. He's more of the runner. Staub's more stationary.
Yeah, and now from what I understand, I think they brought in Slater from somewhere, and he was expected to be the starter. But this kid Staub has just been there for a couple of years, been with Dion for a couple of years, and has shown his mettle, I guess, and so he's coming through as a starter.
No, you're right. Slater did get brought in. I don't know. I'm thinking off the top of my head. Could it have possibly been Liberty or something like that? I know he was a place where he RPO and option threat and everything like that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, but this kid Lewis, I have no idea who he is, what he's been able to do. Didn't look like much, but I think the real battle is between Salter and Staub. Now, speaking of numbers, let's take a look at our Coogs. I'm not I don't know why I want to say this, but I'm not really sold on this Connor Wegman guy at QB. He's got some good numbers. He just seems like the first 2 games it's taken him a half to warm up before he really got going. So I know he's had some injuries last year. He's been out. He's been an injury kind of candidate all of his college career. So maybe he's going to round into form later on in the season, but I'm really not seeing too much out of him.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're very accurate, but I'm hoping, he flashes his 5-star credentials and is just trying to get used to the system. I think me and you spoke off camera about, like, some people are saying our receivers aren't getting separation, and that might make it more difficult for him to throw into coverage. Obviously, it makes it more difficult for him to throw into coverage, and I think he's being hesitant. Maybe that's part of why he's not looking great to start the games, and maybe loosens up a tad towards the end.
Yeah, maybe so. I think that if you look at his numbers, he's doing well. 65% completion rate is pretty good. He's got a lot of yards, 4 TDs. But you got to remember, those are the 2 weakest teams on our schedule that we've just finished playing. So we'll see what happens today. As far as the rushers go, very, very impressed with this guy, Dean Connors. Very, very impressed with Dean. I saw him in the Rice game. He had 2 breakaway touchdowns. The kid is fast. I think our buddy Carl needs to see what he can do in the blocks.
Can we get him on one of the legs of the 4x1?
Yeah, you never know, man. He looks like he can anchor, buddy. But
Okay.
yeah, he when a couple times he broke through the line, and he had those DBs, in the dust. He left those guys in the dust. He looks really, really strong, really, really fast. And I like the kid's attitude. He's a mature kid. He's been around a long time, so he's he played for Rice and that, but he's very mature. I caught the after game interview with him, but I think he's a special kid. I think he's gonna do well for the Cougs this year.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. We need him to, open up the running game so we can maybe get some of our downfield passes, and obviously our tight end Cozell is like the key. I think he makes a lot of stuff happen for that offense.
Yeah. Well, if you look down below here, he seems to be the only one catching the football. Okay. But that's okay because he's a big kid, a big punishing kid. When he catches the ball, he runs over people. And I'm hoping that you're right. I'm hoping that right now what's going on is Dean Connors can open up the rushing game for us, which will open up the passing game. Yeah, I think that Dean is the key to maybe the key to the offense. If he can get that running game going, maybe he'll be able to open up like you were saying, those DBs start cheating to stop the run, and maybe some of those wide receivers will start to get open, and maybe they'll be able to catch some footballs downfield, because that's the only thing I think we're missing right now is catching some footballs down the field. We'll see what happens there, but I'm looking for a victory, obviously, for the Cougs today, and I think Dean Connors is the key to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everything you said, Connors, and if, if he's one, then two is the Cozell tight end, and I think that opens things up.
Yeah,
And I also was, I was reading about the game and listening to some podcasts, and they're like, our defensive line needs to put pressure on Staub. Um, he's not a mobile quarterback. We need to get after him. Maybe force some errant throws into and our DBs pick off a couple. I mean, we definitely have to. We have to have some pressure on the offensive line. On
yeah,
the defense
yeah,
line, put pressure on the offensive line.
yeah. That's important because he doesn't have a lot of experience either. So not
Yeah,
being mobile,
they
not
might
a
get
lot of
rattled.
experience. Yeah, yeah. So that's a big
And
deal.
they said this is his first Big 12 game in a hostile environment. Hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping. I've been reading about it online that we're hoping to sell it out. I don't know if that's reality, Kev. You know better than I, being down in Texas. But I don't know. I mean, the facility is gorgeous. I mean, it's a beautiful facility, great place to play a game. I'm just hoping the fans come out.
It's always hit and miss at the stadium. Remember back in the day, Sully, when we were at school, the games were at the Astrodome, man. Remember that?
I do. I mean, it was just it took a Herculean effort just to get there.
It did. Yeah, back in the day when nobody had a car and we
Yeah,
were trying to get rides to go to the games. We never thought we would sell out the Astrodome, which I don't think we ever really did. But this home stadium only seats about 40K, so hopefully we can do a little something there.
and I've been inside it, but I have not been there since they did the renovations, and you could answer this, but I like all the pictures. It's just beautiful. You know what
Oh,
I
it
mean?
is.
And they say it's like a perfect size because we don't want it. Houston can't have 100,000 stadium
No, no,
like Neyland Stadium in Tennessee or
no.
you know
Michigan, Nebraska, no, they
yeah, it's a
can't.
big
They can't.
house.
Yeah,
We're not going to fill that, so
no,
it's
no.
better to have it what we have. Even Rice's Stadium. Rice's Stadium is they don't even open up the upper levels, right? Like I mean,
No.
the game it's strange. I mean, I know there's a lot of history to it. I hosted a Super Bowl, and
Right.
it's where John F.
Right.
Kennedy gave his speech about we choose to go to the moon. So
Right.
great venue, but it's not a daunting home field advantage.
Uh-huh. Well, as you know, they took away our stadium, our track stadium, when we were there, and that's exactly where the football field is. And it is a beautiful stadium. It really is, and it's not obtrusive on campus. It's very nice. It sits well with the other buildings around it. So it's very nice, very very nice facility. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the game when Coach Delez retired, and they gave him a rate like a horse and the whole 9 yards. And I remember that was the first time I ever saw them play on campus because I was back in New York. But since then, obviously, they took the track out. Then we coexisted with them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's smart because when the track's in there, it's the fans are farther away from the action. When you bring it in tight, it's just
Yep.
got a better feel.
It does. It has definitely a better feel. Better feel. So let's take a look at what's going on in the Big 12. Really, actually, not a whole heck of a lot. Iowa is the only team that has played. Well, Iowa has played Kansas State and shellacked them a little bit, beat them 24-21. But I got to just make a mention about Kansas State, man. We beat them last year when they were a ranked team, and I don't think they've been the same since. Man, they've been they've just
You
been
know,
bad. You know.
preseason, that double game has been a curse for most teams.
Yes.
Last year, Florida State lost to Georgia Tech, and they had their worst season maybe ever.
Yep.
And now Kansas State was picked by a couple of like big time college analysts that to win the Big 12, and now
Yeah.
they're 0-2.
Yeah. 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 So,
It was no hurry.
what are you going to do? I mean, it's just bad. We'll see what happens with them, but it's good to see that the Cougs are 2-0. We haven't played a conference game yet. Obviously, today will be our first conference game. Tonight will be our first conference game, and like I said, we're looking for a W. But I think on a weekly basis, Sully, I want to run through this chart right here just to see where everybody falls, because I'm really thinking that this is going to be a bowl year for us. We got to win 6 to get in. We're going to be 4-0, my opinion, my prediction, and we just got to figure out 2 more wins in the Big 12, and then we could go bowling. So I'm really going to take a look at this chart week to week and see where we might be able to get those wins, and talk about the other teams in the Big 12. The Big 12 is actually the Big 16, so just in case you wanted to know.
No, I agree with you, Kev. I mean, I'm hoping your prediction of 4-0 happens tonight. I think is the key to that happening. Um, Big 12 is up in the air. They
Yes.
picked about 8 different teams to win it, and us not being one of the 8. But Arizona State came from being picked to be last year, and
Yes.
I'm not saying we're going to win the Big 12, but we had Oklahoma on the ropes last year.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and we beat Kansas State. We beat Utah,
Yep.
right? I mean, so and I'll tell you, even was it last year? No, that was probably two. We played Texas. Did we play
It
Texas?
wasn't last year.
It was 2 years ago. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I, you know, you know, we can find 2 more wins. If we go 4-0, I
Yes.
agree with you. I think we go bowling. I don't know where they're going to come from, but I think we can find 2 more wins.
Yeah. Well, not to look too far ahead, but next week we play Oregon State. Oregon State is playing TCU tomorrow, so we'll get a chance to see what that's all about. See, because that's another patty cake kind of team for TCU, and they play us the week after. So we'll actually get a well. I'm going to do my best to watch some of that game to see what I can see about Oregon State, and because that's going to be our next win, I believe that'll complete that 4 in a row before we hit the Big 12. But we'll see. Texas Tech, like I said, they're just playing patty cakes. Look at that. If you can look at look again, they've scored 129 points and only 21 against. So you can tell that they're not playing any real competition. So and this week's game should be about the same. So we'll get a better taste of them later on in the season. But for now, we'll see what happens with Colorado. So. But Sully, it's time to move into the sport that you and I both cherish, that we really, really love, and it's so nice to at least to begin to talk about basketball.
College basketball, baby, never
That's
disappoint.
right. That's never points, bud. But here we go. It's been announced that Houston will face Arkansas in a non-conference game in Newark, New Jersey, and it's going to be Calipari against Sampson. And I'm liking that. I'm thinking that's kind of cool.
I am too. That's in my backyard. It's about 20
Yeah.
minutes from
So I
my
know.
Westfield, New Jersey home. So yeah, no, I will be there. I mean,
Yes.
unless major up a major event comes up, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And all my Houston boys, you have a shout out. You got a place to stay if you want to come up and watch the game.
Yeah, you might have some seventh floor buddies up there to watch the game, because I know there's a few of them lingering up in the New York area there. What's Hazy doing? Maybe Hazy or maybe Much might come up for the game or something.
Yeah, maybe Much. I mean, honestly, lives. Well, I live closer, but he's close enough to get down there in less than an hour. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, no, it's a big game. I mean, Calipari's got some star power. Sampson is he's a great coach. I don't know how many people know him personally on the East Coast, but I mean, obviously, he's one of the most winning active coaches in college basketball, and Houston. I mean, we're probably, we're going to probably be the favorites in almost every game we play, right? I mean, and we got an unbelievable class that came in this year, like three 5-star players, right? So yeah, I love the matchup. I love, the Coogs playing up here on the East Coast. It's great. Calipari's got, He's probably a Hall of Fame college coach. Sampson is a Hall of Fame college coach. I mean, it'll be great. And I think the Cougs are probably one or two ranked coming out of the gates, which
Yep,
which is double-edged sword, right? We're going to
it
be
is.
pressure.
It
Go
is. I Sully, there's bad news from that standpoint of Cougar basketball. Do you realize that there's only one team in college basketball that has been to the Final Four 7 times and not one?
yeah.
That's us. That's us. Well, yeah, Sully, I think we're going to be favored in just about every game that we play in. I know that, we haven't won the championship, but something tells me that it could be this year. Two reasons. Obviously, we're bringing back three guys that have a lot of experience, as you can see on them. Uzan, Tugler, and Sharp have a lot of experience. To be honest with you, Sharp has a lot to prove after fumbling away the last minute of the game last year. Don't want to blame the kid, but that's exactly what happened. But I think
Yeah.
he's a great shooter, a great player. He's going to be the leader of this team this year. He's been with Sampson the longest. But we also have a couple of new guys that are going to come in and start, and that's going to be exciting as well. But the big thing for me is I really think that this is going to be our year, more so than any other year, except for the year that we went to New Orleans and lost to uh, Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and Louisville also with the McRae brothers on there. So I think this is going to be our year, Saul.
I'm hoping, Cam. I thought last year was our year. We had. I think when you get down to it, when you're that good and you're those top echelon teams like Duke could have that game could have gone either way last year, right? I mean,
Yes.
they had us.
Yeah, they did.
After we got by Duke, I thought we'd win. It was kind of the same as us beating Louisville and then losing to NC State. I don't
Yeah.
think it was. I don't think it was a letdown this year. I think that there was a lot to do. I mean, it's sour grapes on my part, but a lot to do with officiating. I think they went from calling no fouls, calling it very loose in the first half, to calling it very,
Yeah,
very
tight and second. Yeah.
tight the second half. It was two different games, and I was listening to analysts at the time, and they said like a player, you just want to know the way it's going to be called, and they said
Right.
that referees would come in and look at the stats at halftime, and they realized they called like four total fouls in the first half, and
So
they
they
were
come
like,
out.
they come out and they changed it. It just changed the momentum of the game,
Yeah.
and we still lost by 2 points.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
With 60, we were winning with 65 seconds to go, and we wound up losing by two. Nothing, no shame in that. We played hard. We did the best we could, and we just came up short this time. It happens. It happens. But this year, I really have the sense that we're gonna be cutting down the nets there. And the other reason why I said there were two reasons. One is because we've got some new players coming in, and the second reason is we could be playing in Houston, the finals.
finals. Oh wow! I thought the finals were in Indianapolis this year.
No, no, I'm pretty sure it's in Houston. Yep.
Okay,
It's
okay.
at the Toyota Center. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
I
let
thought,
me back up. Let me back up. Let me back up. Not the finals. I'm sorry. The Sweet 16
yeah, the
is
brackets.
the
Yeah, yeah,
bracket.
yeah.
Before we get to Indianapolis, you're right. That Sweet 16 is going to be right here in Houston. So
So what's that considered? Like the Midwest or no? So we have
it'll be the
East.
South. It'll be the
Excuse me,
South.
South.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
of
be the
course.
South. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's obviously there's a lot that needs to happen before we get there. We got to play the freaking season first. All right. But, but
Can I ask you a question, Kev? And this
sure.
is unscripted. Um, Sampson usually doesn't play his freshmen. Is he going to play these guys? I mean, like these guys are 5-star guys. I think he should play them.
He's going to play them. They're already slated to be in the starting lineup, and I'll show you exactly who we're talking about right here. It's Chris Sinak and
Yeah,
Isaiah Harwell. Um, they're the two that I'm thinking he's going to play. The reason well, you got to remember everything changes over time, and basketball is no different. When back in the day when we were around, even like there were players that usually spend 3-4 years. There, one and done was not a thing back in the
yeah,
day, and so when you're Samson and you're playing at before he came to Houston, um, uh, he was in Oklahoma, and before back in those days, there were one and dones, but teams that weren't blue bloods like Duke, Kentucky, they didn't get one and dones. So that's why he didn't play his. That's why his freshmen would never play, because he just didn't have the caliber of freshman that would be one and done. But now, this time around, with playing with Houston, being the number 2 team in the country, coming out of the gates, having a killer program over the last 5 so years, he's starting to recruit that level of talent, the 5-star talent, the 4-star talent, and some of these guys are going to be one and dones. And this kid right here, Sinek, everything I read and see about him, this kid's the real deal. He's going to be starting power forward right next to Tugler, who I think is also the real deal. Tugler, he may not score any points, but you ain't scoring on him either. So, he's a great defender.
Tugler's been great for us, a great defender. And Isaiah Hardwell looks like he's going to give us some instant offense, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're a great defensive team.
Yes.
And Sampson is the man defensively. Sometimes our offensive schemes leave a bit to be desired.
Yes,
I'd
agreed.
like to see them open that up a tad. I'm not sure. I mean, I think the talent's there. I just don't know how it fits into. I mean, he wants all our players to defend, regardless.
Right.
Right. But I think he could do both.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can do both.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
very excited. Very excited.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So that's basketball. We love talking basketball, but we'll get more and more of that as we get closer to the season there, Sully. And so now, Sully, it is time to kind of get our little shout outs going. I know that you have a very special shout out that you want to do. So go ahead.
Well, just as I mentioned in the beginning, my special shout out is to my brother-in-law, Police Officer Port Authority Police Officer Donald McIntyre, and just for all the victims of 9/11. And we're Americans, and we'll never forget. And let's just keep that alive.
Sure. Well, I'm a New Yorker too,
Absolutely.
From Brooklyn. I happened to be in St. Louis the morning of the 9/11 situation. It was absolutely wild and crazy. I felt bad for the city. Love the city, and I hear you with that shout out. But I also want to give a little shout out to Mr. Charlie Kirk, who is no longer with us as a result of some foolishness. Some people who don't value free speech, I guess, and thought it would be a good idea to shut someone up permanently. So I just want to really give a heartfelt shout out to Charlie Kirk, his family, his beautiful wife, and his beautiful kids. And, feel so bad for the way things are turning these days. But, hey.
Yeah, there's no place for that in our society. When are we gonna stop that stuff? But
really,
it's crazy. But
no matter what side of the fence you're on,
yeah,
that doesn't it should never come to that.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, no worries. All right, my friend, time for us to roll. We'll see you.
Thanks for carrying me again this week.
No worries, buddy. No worries. I got a big back. Don't worry about it. No worries. Yeah, but like I said, we're going to start to get some other folks on here. This is our 3rd show. We're committed to do this for a little while, but we're going to get the 3rd man in the booth here pretty soon and have some fun that way. But anyway,
we're going to bring in the relief pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go to the bullpen. We're gonna have to pass the baton here in a little bit, but
absolutely.
All right, my friend. We will see you next week. Thanks,
go
guy.
Coogs. Come on.
Go Coogs.
3-0. Let's go.
3-0. Let's do it. Bye-bye.